What up, Marsh Pod? Back. Had a little pre-Christmas vacation. Was down in the exotic, ever exotic Florida Keys this past weekend, and it was a great opportunity for me to kind of relieve the daily pressures of the SimWorld offseason. Because look, I get it. I get that the offseason, when there's no basketball games to be coached, few meaningful basketball games to be played, how much pressure can be involved in that. And that's why I said I need to get away. So I did. So I'm coming back refreshed, but apparently not as refreshed as the ATLians, who are yet again looking for a new coach after yet another coach decides the pressures of the offseason are simply too much. It's just a difficult thing trying to recruit people. But Eli McDowell is out in Atlanta after some brief flash in the pan that he was there to change the futures of the ATLians. That future change will have to come even further in the future because he's gone. The ATLians are back to the drawing board in need of a new coach, and it's continuation of a pattern that we've seen of coaches coming and going and leaving for reasons. Whether you're in Lone Star Basketball Club, whether you're the H-Town Hoopers, or now the ATLians, who will lose Eli McDowell, the Miami native. All of this brings to mind a simple question. Why are you here? And that extends to every single player and coach. But I think it's most on the coaches. Why are you here? Because this is not a difficult process to coach a basketball team during the offseason. Because at this point, you have to understand what you're walking into. And I think a lot of our coaches do not know what they're walking into. I think our players have seen that quite vividly of what they're walking into. They're walking into great opportunities to play on the court right now, and then certainly that'll extend into the offseason. They're walking into an opportunity to be recruited, which everybody wants to have, and an opportunity to grow their brand as a basketball player. But our coaches right now in the offseason are in a difficult spot where the recruitment, the confirmation, the declaration day is further into the future than originally expected for players. And it can create a difficult time right now because you think you have a player locked up on your team only for them to decommit or head elsewhere. Now, we haven't had that happen just yet. All eyes are on Xavier Pope, Trey Hyman. They say they're going to be in the Bay Area. We'll see. I actually believe they will be. I have very little reporting. There's no reporting to think that they won't be with the Bay Area Breakers next year led by Dre Pope. But for the coaches, it can be, I said it sarcastically at the beginning, but I can understand the stressors of not having the opportunity to do much beyond try to recruit players right now. But you should be looking at players. You should be taking this offseason time to scout both the players that you don't have and that you want to get, but also the guys that are on your team. And it's not as if the ATLians are missing players. They have D'Angelo Muto, ranked 26th in the country right now. A great piece to build a team around. Jamon Moore is unranked, but had a good season. It's not as if, and you're coming in a really, really good location in Atlanta where you should be able to build some really good talent and recruit some really good talent. But in any situation, I think there's always the possibility that there's two sides to every story. So, why is it that our coaches here in SimWorld are leaving at a unprecedented, if we had any precedent to go off of, but a shocking rate? Why are they not sticking around? And I think that there can be blame on both sides. So on the first side, on the coach's side, it's understanding what you're walking into. And at the same time, it's understanding what you can do with the tools at your disposal. Sure, you can't sign a guy. Sure, you can't, or at least officially sign him. Sure, you can't coach a game. Those days will come. Those days will come. Don't rush that because you're going to get midway through the season and you're going to be wishing for a nice trip to the Florida Keys. But it's knowing what you can do with your time as it currently exists. Recruiting, scouting, figuring out what type of game plan you can make with the players on your team, taking hard looks at the 5v5s, the pickups, the 3v3 tournaments that we've seen, and then understanding the people at your disposal. But I think there's a reasonable case to be made on the opposite side of what can the league do to keep the coaches more entertained. I think the introduction of the preseason tournaments has been phenomenal for the players. But it's left the coaches in a difficult situation where they haven't been able to flex their coaching muscles, where they haven't been able to coach a team, whether it's their players or not. These teams are being brought together with guys that don't play together, which was a valid question brought up earlier this week. I think it was yesterday, about why aren't some of these teammates playing with each other during the summer. We're not getting into that. That's for another day. But the coaches should have just as equal an opportunity to establish the team for themselves. So why can't we establish opportunities for coaches to coach in these preseason tournaments, 3v3 or 5v5? Give them a chance to work with different sets. Introduce them to these players in atmospheres that they would otherwise not be able to use. What if, and I'm not reporting, so aggregators, this is not reporting, but what if Tim Bilardi gets an opportunity, or Myron Murray gets an opportunity, or Liz Dodge gets an opportunity to coach Xavier Pope. And Xavier Pope says, you know what, I really like the way in which I was used, and I could see myself fitting in with the originators really well. And then he can turn around, he can have a opportunity to get coached by Dre Pope, and he can say, you know what, I don't like how I'm utilizing this situation, and I want to maybe go somewhere else. He hasn't signed anything that allows him to definitely go to Bay Area Breakers, but it would give him the opportunity to be exposed to other ways of being coached. Why have we not thought of this? And I think this is an opportunity for us to, as a league, to involve the coaches much earlier on, give them something to play for. What new coach wouldn't want the opportunity to go toe-to-toe against any of these, of the three aforementioned coaches that did a phenomenal job a year ago? Or if you're the Bay Area Breakers and you say, hey, I want to, or you're Brian Loveless, and you want to coach against some of those guys that you just walked away from, if you're Caden Shipp or the guys you potentially walked away from, although there's certainly no reason to think Xavier Pope or Trey Hyman would have ended up in the Bay if Brian Loveless was there. But all of this talk offseason about Brian Loveless, is he running from the fight? Give him an opportunity to coach some games, show what he's doing, show what he's capable of. Coach Laster down in the Yacht Club, go up against Tim Bilardi. See if the game plan that you've envisioned for your team come March is worth a damn against a coach that knows how to do it. We've established and created a phenomenal opportunity for players to exhibit who they can be. But the recruitment trail goes both ways. And players should be equally invested in seeing what type of game plan, what type of system these coaches play, and how they may fit into it. Both watching a game and watching the game plan of the coach, but also playing in that game and playing for that coach. Recruitment should be both ways. And players should equally have to recruit a coach on why they should want to play there or why they should want to be there, but the coaches have no opportunity to do that right now. I say this to those that be at SimWorld. Can we get the coaches involved in these preseason tournaments? All right, that's it. We will be back on Thursday, even more relaxed, even more not under pressure, as there's just no pressures of the holiday season, right? It's the most pressure-free time of the year. All right, happy holidays. We'll see you then.